News reports have come out that women in tech jobs are leaving those in large numbers. The reports also say that these desertions are related to the demand by their office for work from office. Now, this also allies with India's already endemic problem of low women participation in jobs. The reason why women don't want to brave Bengaluru's traffic or Gurugram's or even that of Mumbai is, we say, because of low incentives. And why is that low incentive happening is what we shall be discussing in this issue of On Point. Let's examine this problem from the other end of the income stream, the lower income group. In West Bengal, a train ticket from a place like Memari, a small town, to Howrah costs about rupees 20. It's a distance of about 60 kilometers or so. At the other end of India, a train ticket from Virar to Mumbai Central costs roughly about the same. But in both these cases, what's happening that there's a large number of women are traveling on these trains and reaching on time. Now that is an important thing to look at. The reason why the women, despite the crowd, despite the crush, are still reaching and taking these trains is because these trains are on time and they are economical. This is the secret sauce which makes women join the workforce. Women need both of those elements. You break one of those, it will not work. To understand this, let's take an example from another part of India where it doesn't work. Now, Ghaziabad and East Delhi are both high density places. There are people, the women staying in Ghaziabad, East Delhi and Northeast Delhi are places where there are a large number of small and medium enterprises. But while the buses are packed, you don't see too many women traveling this distance. Why? Because A, the buses are not regular, so even though they are economical, the tickets are not very high, they do not prefer to travel on this route. So therefore, we understand what makes a woman's journey in a city or from outside the city palatable. It's a question of cost that is making it economical, and it's a question of being on time. Women are cost and time conscious. So any policy, any public policy which plans to bring women into the workforce has to take account of both of these. Now, instead of this, what are we getting to hear? In many states, political leaders are saying that we shall offer free rides in buses. Does that help? Well, apparently so, but actually not so. The two problems with the free rides is, first of all, the demand for making it free is not a very powerful demand. What is more powerful is making the buses or the trains run on time, year after year, day after day, month after month. It's very, very important. So more than free rides, you need the buses. But where are the buses? If you look at the data of the bus corporations in all cities, each one is running at a loss. So who will finance these buses? Either the center or the state governments. An IS officer in a state government, well, she'll organize the buses, but she will not be responsible for running the buses. That is the remit of the municipal corporations. So as we get centrally financed buses, EV buses, costly buses, those buses become showpieces. What they do? Well, somebody buys the buses and says, well, fine, isko chalao, you run the buses. But that work of running the buses is what actually ensures that a woman can step out of her house on time to get the bus to where she needs to reach. There's another missing incentive. What is that? City lights. Not the way Charlie Chaplin talked about it, but city lights are important. Imagine a woman walking back home after an office. She's tired and she sees in front of her a road which has got hardly any lights. She may do the journey once, but next day, next week, she'll stop. Her family also will encourage her to drop out. It's too risky. Again, what is the solution? Putting up bulbs which work every day throughout the year. But again the same problem comes along. Switching on bulbs on street lamps is not a very exciting work for any municipal official. A recent McKinsey & Company study on women's equality found that advancing the socio-economic integration of women could add a whopping $12 trillion a year to global growth. But according to the same McKinsey's calculation, the major effort that is needed is to ensure that public transport improves. The trick is not to have just main roads lit, but also the side street lights. A YouGov survey in 2019 found that almost half the women said, and this is from England, that they always felt unsafe when walking down an alleyway by themselves or when walking alone at night. By contrast, only between 11% and 13% of men felt the same. This is again a question of putting the incentives right. The municipality's incentive and the incentives of the women to pick up jobs don't coincide. So again, to get the secret sauce, aligning the incentives of the policy planners and that of the working women is a difficult exercise. And often political leaders, bureaucrats get this wrong. For instance, in Bihar, women were given bicycles to ride. The same example was tried out in Odisha. But as the results show, that is not foolproof. A bicycle is, first of all, not particularly economical. It can be safe, but it doesn't address the two problems. What were the two problems? Of being on time and of reasonable fare. Every woman will not be an adventurer riding out on bicycle to go to a job. She needs a public transport. I am one of those optimists who believe that this is being looked into. Ideas of this sort that I have talked about are not very new. But what is interesting is that these are now becoming of precedence, of importance in cities. As India urbanizes, policymakers seem to be realizing that we need to do these things. Because when you put up those bus lights, or when you make the buses run on time, it will not bring the women out to work immediately. They have to be operational for quite a length of time. A year, 2 years. You have to wait for those lessons to soak into the system, for people to start believing that yes, they are here to stay. So a bus which runs on time for 1 month and next month it sort of gives up, that doesn't work. Only when these are pushed for, and that's why I say they are incentives which will need to be worked on. If they are worked on regularly, kept on place for a sufficiently long length of time, and when I say long length of time, again I'm repeating it, it means over years, will the problem of low women participation in work come down, whether it's high income group or low income group. For both, the results are same. And that's all from this edition of On Point.